Maness. He's the president of the Grayson Murray Foundation. And we also have Dr. John Elliott. He's a sports psychologist and author of How to Get Along with Anyone. Thank you both for being here today. We appreciate it. Jeff, I'd like to start with you. First, just tell us a little bit more about your foundation's mission and the work that you're really doing to help shine a light on people who are struggling with mental health.
Thanks for having me. Grayson was quite a generous human being. He took his own life in May. And as part of the grieving process, his parents, along with several of us close to him, decided to put a foundation together in his honor. It's really focused on raising awareness of the challenges that people face with mental health and addiction. We look to further services financially for those that are interested in help but may not have access to help. And we're quite interested in innovative research to help prevent mental health issues with early diagnosis.
Dr. John, I want to talk about that because, I think athletes have it particularly bad in some cases because so much of their identity is wrapped up in what they can do, right? And that becomes in many cases who they are. And so when the checks stop coming or you have a bad game, that's really difficult. What can sort of the rest of us, laymen out here who aren't superstar athletes, take from these athletes in terms of prioritizing our mental health?
Well, it's important to recognize that elite athletes, elite singers, actors, right, broadcast personalities, we see them on TV at their best, right? We see the best version of themselves, but they're human beings, just like us. And every day, every one of us, whether you're elite at what you do or not, we get bombarded with challenges that beat us up. And we have to work on coping with that. And when our buttons get pushed, we fall back on some personality habits that we need a better understanding of ourselves, and we need it for the people that we care about.
I love that you said that.
Yeah. Jeff, you've said it was a dream of Grayson's to have a foundation like this. He was active in talking about mental health struggles. What has it been like for his family, and how do people support others who are struggling?
That's a great question. I'll start with what it's been like for the family. It's been difficult. It's been a nightmare. Let's be honest. But with that grieving energy, we've really looked to transition that to growth. This foundation is a way for us to give back to the community. Grayson was very open around his issues. Let's be clear about that. Life wasn't always easy for Grayson. There was a number of missteps along the way. But he was a very generous soul, and with that generosity is really what is helping us, really propel or accelerate this foundation. We hope to help others live beautiful lives is really the purpose.
I love what you said about, he was candid and brave, frankly, in sharing. Courageous, right? And sharing those struggles. What about the people, Dr. John? I think for so many of us, the worst fear is knowing someone's struggling but not knowing, right? Or you find out you feel too late. What are some of the signs that we should be aware of? And how do we show up for people who we suspect may be struggling?
Yeah, it's really, really crucial to have the people you love, your friends, your family, and so forth, have an understanding of when their buttons get pushed, when they're stressed, when they're under pressure, when they're being beat up. What are their go-to habits, right? What are their personality habits? Do they tend to retreat? Do they tend to get more competitive? Do they tend to want to make everything okay and collaborate, right? Do they tend to just accommodate and sort of give in? And if you know those patterns of how someone handles stress, because we see people and we just assume they're going to be rational, logical, but emotion is what makes us wonderful human beings, what makes us champions, but it also is some of our biggest struggle.
You can also tell if you understand their baseline than what is aberrative. John, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. This is such an important message. And I do want to make sure our viewers know that if you or a loved one or someone you know is struggling or suffering, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can call, you can even text 988, or you can visit 988lifeline.org.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much for being here.
Thank you.
Stay with us, folks. You're watching NBC News Daily.
Well, the U.S. pharmaceutical industry is also likely to be impacted by President Trump's 10%